beautiful beings, and welcome back to the Spirit Tea Room. Grab a cup of your favorite drink, come and sit down with me, take a break, take a load off, and let's talk about manifesting and adjusting your frequency. So this is going to be a sort of continuation of last week's message, or rather some helpful advice on how to take action towards your manifestations. But more than that, a better way of explaining it is I'm going to teach you a method of shifting or adjusting your frequency by adjusting your thinking and your perception. Now, before we begin, after listening back to the message I gave last week, I was a little concerned that how I explained part of the message Spirit gave me may have been a little misunderstood. So I do just want to better clarify / explain or add to what I meant about moaning about the sharks and to stop doing so. In some circumstances, of course, it can be imperative that you speak out and that you tell someone if something awful has or is happening to you. For example, if you're severely depressed, if you're seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist, if you need to see a doctor, if you're being severely abused, if you need help in any way, etc. And sometimes, hey, we all need to vent to our mom, our best friend, to divine, or if we're using our stories or experiences to help others, or if we are just trying to explain our situation to someone. The point Spirit was trying to make last week about forgetting about the things we don't want to manifest and to stop talking about them, etc., was a reminder about being careful of the power of your words and your emotions, to be aware when they are affecting your frequency negatively. How constantly speaking about a problem in your life can result in only feeding the monster, thereby only making the problem worse, because you're keeping it like a stuck record playing the same song over and over again. So use your own discernment here. And to kind of illustrate what I mean, here is a common example of this. When we continually say to ourselves and everyone else something like, I'm never treated fairly at work. I'm never treated fairly at work. No, you don't understand. I'm never treated fairly at work. Maybe continually affirming this statement with such intense feeling is what is keeping you from being treated fairly at work. Or how about when we do this and we involve someone else in the equation? For example, something like, my husband never does anything nice for me. My husband just sits on the couch playing games or watching TV. Can you see how these affirmations are affecting not just you, but also your relationship and your partner? If you are someone who believes in affirmations, then think of it this way. Whether you're saying, my husband is so good to me, or whether you say, my husband never does anything nice for me, either way, they're both an affirmation, and either way, they can both potentially take effect, especially when you consider the emotional drive behind the affirmation. Now I know this is a truth that hurts. Why? Because we are all guilty of doing this at some point in some way. We also cause these cycles not only with our words, but also our thoughts, which is why I gave the message last week about forgetting about these issues and putting them out of your mind so you can replace that space with healthier affirmations. To illustrate how we do this, here is a good example of a way we use our thoughts to keep us in cycles. Now, I'm sure at this point most of you have heard of or are aware that we can sometimes limit ourselves with our own internal self-negative talk, or by allowing that inner critic to kind of run amok. But have you ever thought about how those internal conversations or arguments you have with other people are affecting your life? For example, what do you think you're manifesting when you spend the entire drive to work arguing with that coworker you can't stand in your head? Seeing it and feeling those intense emotions. Imagining arguing with them is premeditating, pre-planning for, and therefore expecting to fight with them. Now, if you add in all that rage and anger and even your desperate need to be right, etc., this is all the perfect recipe for manifesting exactly what you are preparing for. you are preparing for and manifesting that fight. More negativity, more ugliness, and more of what basically you don't want. So hopefully now you guys understand this message and this reminder from Spirit. You know, even the Bible, which is a book that regardless of your beliefs contains much spiritual wisdom, says to take every thought captive, which means to become aware of what your thoughts are allowing to run like software in your head, essentially programming your frequency and your reality. The Bible also says that life and death are in the power of the tongue and to choose life. So what are your words giving life to? What are your thoughts and thinking giving life to? So this brings me right back to today's takeaway tea message. Okay, so let's get honest about manifesting. Many of us have tried it and failed. Or you've had some success or even great success, but it hasn't been sustainable or easily repeatable because, well, let's face it, you know, life happens, you're easily swayed, and suddenly you find yourself stuck in old programming, old cycles, self-limiting beliefs, and basically embracing defeat. So then why does this happen and so easily, and how do we fix it? Can we counteract it, shift away from it, or how do we get back towards faith? Well, you know, for the most part, it basically comes down to the mind, because the mind is the catalyst of our perceptions. And our perceptions are those doors, walls, and gates we establish in our life to either block or allow in what we both desire and also do not desire. So another way of looking at it is to ask ourselves, how do I close the undesired doors and then not only open the right doors, but keep them open? So what do we need? Can I hear somebody say it? Can we get a workable strategy, please? And I know that this is about the time where you roll your eyes because you've seen and heard it all before. You say, oh Raven, don't bother. I know how to manifest. I've been there. I've got the t-shirt and the participation trophy. I mean, you guys have scripted and daydreamed, imagined it real, and stuck those sticky notes full of affirmations all over your house and work cubicle. And you've even stuck them on your treadmill and your car windshield. And you know, that vision board that you worked so hard on hasn't manifested squat. Okay, believe me, I hear you. And you know, to be honest, I can actually feel it too, especially now during this time where people's minds and energy fields have been full of this like static. You know, it's been clouding people's minds and ability to judge accurately, preventing people from perceiving clearly, and basically causing mental exhaustion. So this is actually something I'm going to be posting a healing video for after this, so do look out for that. But so, okay, all in all, you're tired, you can't seem to find the energy to script or to visualize or to make another damn vision board. If this is currently how you're feeling, how about considering trying a simple 4-word affirmation? Just a few words, give or take depending, but a simple statement to place yourself and your beliefs back onto solid manifestation ground. And more importantly, an all-encompassing affirmation that you can use to reaffirm over any negative thoughts or feelings that may come up during your day-to-day. The kind of statement I'm talking about is going to sound something like this. I am the magician. I am the high priestess. I am the empress or emperor. I am the 9 of Pentacles, or even I am a prima ballerina, I am a Julia Roberts, I am a powerful witch. Now again, before you roll your eyes at me and tell me how annoyingly familiar this sounds, let me explain my version of this. Okay, so we're going for something quick and easy here, something that cuts through all the bullshit and more importantly gets right to the point. An affirmation, like I mentioned last week, that keeps us laser focused on our goals. So why the archetype? Well, because this helps us to encompass all that we desire into one gloriously easy statement. No mess, no fuss, no visualization required, just a laser pointing our consciousness in the right direction. One statement we can pack full of unlimited power and intention, but that gets straight to the point, signaling our mind of our full intention and direction. And not only that, it's a simple, easy, all-encompassing statement that we can use whenever those negative or countering thoughts, situations, manifestations, or triggers occur. So, for example, when you have a thought come up like, I don't know, maybe I should just give up the ghost and stick with my 9 to 5 regular job. No, I want you to turn around and say, no, I am the high priestess. So, if I've caught your attention with this, follow me a little bit further down this path so I can show you the foundation of this technique, so you can not only fully grasp and understand why it works, but its potential in your hands, or rather your mouth. So I'm sure by now most of you have heard of or have even used something called a sigil before. For those of you who don't know what this is basically a magical practice where you get your mind to compress a statement or a wish into the form of a picture. The point being here is to get your subconscious to recognize your wish in a visual format, thereby making it easier for your subconscious mind to accept the wish and then manifest it. Now, the reason why this technique works is because this subconscious is a picture faculty. It both understands and operates in a visual format, hence why visualizing works so well and why feeling bypasses everything altogether. Now, unfortunately, the reason why creating sigils often doesn't work is because it can be hard for some people to get their subconscious to accept and recognize their created sigil or wish picture. Now, of course, what most people don't realize is just how many quote-unquote sigils we see and recognize every day. Even Coca-Cola's logo, which is technically a word, our subconscious mind recognizes visually and as an all-encompassing image. So from a red light on a robot to a vacation photo, from logos to a pentagram, or even a cross hanging on the wall of someone's home, these are all pictures or symbols that speak 1,000 words. Something simple yet vast in its meaning. So in this way, another way of describing a sigil with other language, we could say a picture that speaks 1,000 words. We could say a symbol. We could say an archetype. And, if you've ever delved into dream interpretation, which is technically the realm of the subconscious, you will understand how terms like symbol and even archetype can be very interchangeable, because they are both, again, representing a greater story or a greater meaning or many meanings. Oh, to see the world in a grain of sand, to see a wish in a sigil, or to see all of your desires in a single image. So this is the magic, so to speak, we're going to tap into. Because when we pick a picture that is already familiar to us, a picture our subconscious already recognizes, we are doing a form of sigil magic, only we're ridding ourselves of half the work, because we're using an archetype our subconscious already recognizes. So now, not only do we bypass trying to convince our subconscious of some brand new and unfamiliar image, but the familiar archetypal image we do use can encompass 1,000 affirmations in one easy statement. And just you guys grasping and understanding this truth alone is building a foundation of understanding for you, and this will open you up even more to allowing this technique to work for you. Okay, so let's look at potential archetypes and which ones may be best suited for you. First and most importantly is to pick something that resonates with you personally. Magic, manifestation, it's always a personal thing, and the very reason why personal magic, spells, affirmations, etc., always work best is because when it comes from ourselves, it usually resonates. We get it, we understand our meaning and intention, whereas when we follow along with someone else's spell, technique, etc., it can be harder because sometimes it doesn't resonate or trigger inspiration. So my first suggestion for an excellent source of archetypes is the tarot. Specifically the tarot based on the Rider-Waite version, and providing you are familiar with these cards, their meanings, and or if they resonate with you. The tarot has a magic all of its own. And again, one of the things that make it so powerful, impactful, and downright mystical is that it is a system based on imagery and symbols. A single card can impart hundreds of meanings, if not more. And for those of you who are already familiar with the tarot, even if it's just their standard and basic meanings, will already have a strong grasp of their archetype. So your subconscious will already recognize these images, and therefore these archetypes can serve as a powerful sigil for you. Now, whether you're using a tarot card archetype or a different type of archetype, don't be afraid to add your own unique meanings to either of these. So now you say, okay, but how do I do that? How do I take an archetype like the Hierophant and use that as a representation of my desire to be a spiritual leader, but I also kind of want him to drive a Ferrari? You know, I've been working with the tarot a long time. I know the Hierophant is a certain kind of archetype, and somehow I don't think I'm going to be able to bring those two together, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to do this. So if you want to add extra meanings to your archetype, here are two simple methods. The first method, write out a simple list of all the things you want your card or archetype to mean for you, and then title your list with the name of your archetype. Then go ahead and use your affirmation. For example, I am the High Priestess. Every day, as much as you want or need, but until you feel confident that you are impressing upon your subconscious mind the entirety of your list. Read over your list at least every night before bed and every morning when you wake up. You can also carry a version of your list around with you and go over it or add to it throughout your day. Now, pro tip, you can even post a version of your list somewhere where you see it regularly, for example, next to your computer in your work cubicle, and this will add extra oomph. What it will do then is act much like a subliminal message, impressing upon your subconscious mind even when you aren't even consciously aware of the list. And this is why this method of posting the list up can even act like a vision board. And again, what is the magic of a vision board? It's made up of images, symbols, sigils. But again, what we are aiming for here is to compress an entire vision board into a single image, your archetype. So pin up your list or your chosen tarot card, the name of it, or an image that conveys the entirety of your specific archetype. Now for the second method. This is less of a method and more of a trick, but hear me out. This method is going to be for those of you who already have a well-established list engraved in their mind. That same consistent list that's been in your head for some time now, one that you know like the back of your hand. This could also apply to those of you who know their own mind, someone with a strong, confident focus or the like. Or, if this list method just seems too complicated for you or just seems unnecessary in some way, then I encourage you to consider picking a card or archetype like the Emperor or Empress or even the Magician. Let me explain. For me personally, the Empress and Emperor are two of the most powerful, if not the most powerful archetypes in the deck, because to me they kind of encompass everything. Let's just look at the imagery of the Empress card alone for a second. She's beautiful, majestic, skilled, talented, a ruler of rulers. She's powerful, respected, adored, and praised. She's abundant, living a life of luxury. She is a magnificent mother, and with such a fertile womb, a master creator and manifester. And this is just to name a few. And based on some of the symbols on this card, which I won't get into right now, she is also a high priestess. The Empress is Wonder Woman, the woman who can do it all, who has it all. And her Emperor not only sees her that way, but he also sees her as his everything, and vice versa. So I'm sure that you can see the benefit of using the Empress, or its equivalent, the Emperor, as your archetype, and how it's already pretty inclusive of everything you desire to be, see, and experience, and therefore a powerful archetype to affirm yourself to be, to use to direct your subconscious mind with, and to aid you in steering your manifestations in the right direction. Now, if for whatever reason the Empress and Emperor do not resonate with you, then I'd encourage you to consider a card like the Magician, another powerful archetype, the literal number 1 card in the deck, the archetype who is the master of magic and manifestation, who wields it all from the pentacle to the wand. He can do it all. And perhaps this is the most important concept that you wish to impress upon your subconscious mind at this time, that you are a master manifester and creator, and that you have power, and that you are able to manifest anything you desire. So, hopefully I've got those gears in your head turning a little bit, and you're starting to think, well, what other cards can I use? So here I'm going to give you a few other cards and ideas. The High Priestess, for example, can be used to focus on developing your spiritual gifts. The Hierophant, as I mentioned earlier, can be used to help you become a great spiritual leader, teacher, or master. The Wheel of Fortune can convey that you create and control your own fortune and happy future with ease, while the King of Pentacles could express that you are the king of making money, an entrepreneur, a millionaire, or even a billionaire. The Nine of Pentacles can get you to a place of confident financial and personal independence, and the Ten of Cups could see you happily married and fully satisfied with life. So now, for those of you who have been patiently waiting, those of you who are not familiar with the tarot, how do you go about embracing an archetype as an affirmation? Well, have no fear, because there is a world full of archetypes out there that could work just as well for you. Something like, I am a magnificent mother or father, is a simple yet powerful statement, and it can override any diagnosis of being barren or unable to have children if you put that on your list. And not only that, but to see you become an amazing parent. How about the one I used earlier? I am a prima ballerina. Simple and to the point, but conveying excellence in talent, and becoming and coping with being a fully recognized working prima ballerina. What about I am a Julia Roberts? Perhaps for you this may mean becoming a top film actress, top paid film actress, or just being well loved and well respected in your local drama club. What about affirming, I am a Jay-Z, to get a rap career off the ground? Or if you are a little bit more magical and mystical, something like, I am a white witch, or I am a powerful witch, can speak volumes. Here's a stranger one. I am a Bella Swan. Now, maybe you might not attract an actual vampire, although nothing's impossible. But to you, this archetype wins you the person of your dreams, the one, that ride or die love of your life, the one who pushes you, helps you grow, is good for you, who loves, nurtures, and protects you, someone who is fiercely loyal, and who sees you as their whole world the way you see them as your whole world. The point here, guys, is that the sky is the limit. Use a standard archetype, a tarot archetype, an archetype from your favorite oracle deck. You can use goddesses, an anime character, or your own personal idol. Just keep your statement simple and ensure it encompasses your list. So, especially for those of you who are well versed in law of attraction, you will see that another reason why this is such a great technique is because in affirming an archetype, we are eliminating certain details, unless included on your list, of course, and therefore we're not limiting the universe or divine from giving us our best and what would truly make us happy. I am the Empress, for example, could speak of our desire to be very wealthy and accomplished in our chosen career. But under the umbrella of Empress in our world, the best way for that to manifest in our lives in a way that we would ultimately be happy with could come in the form of, for example, a wealthy emperor who swoops in, falls in love with us, and then happily and joyfully shares his millions, willingly providing us that opulent life that we desired, and then leaving us to be free to pursue that career that may not have been able to afford us that luxury VIP lifestyle, but that fulfills us in every other way. So, for example, if we'd insisted that we'd only accept our careers providing us wealth, we may have blocked this ultimately wonderful life. So, when you make your statement, speak it to yourself, but also to God, to divine, your higher self, or the universe, whichever you prefer, but entrusting them to bring it about in the best way possible, the best way suited for you. Now, if you feel particularly strong about this, you can even add something like the following to your affirmation. I am the Empress, under grace and in perfect ways. And this will certainly do the trick. So I hope by now that you guys can see how this powerful technique using a simple statement can simplify and streamline your manifesting, can get you over your current slump. Maybe you just incorporate it in with your other manifestation techniques, or perhaps it's the simple method you've been waiting for. Either way, remember guys, you get whatever you can convince yourself to believe. And personally, this is kind of why I love this technique, because of its sass. It's almost precocious, forward, pushy even. But isn't that precisely what so many of us need? A super confident, you can't tell me nothing kind of technique to push past that resistance that so often tries to close the doors to your desires. The resistance that bombards so many people by what's portrayed around you, constantly trying to limit you and tell you what is and isn't possible. The resistance that too often wears people down because sometimes everyday life overpowers that half an hour we spend visualizing a day. Or sometimes when resistance rears its ugly head 100 times a day, we run out of those counter affirmations, or we just get so tired of trying to think of one or remember them all. Or by the end of the day when we're saying them, even we can feel them fizzle out. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through a few real-world examples of how we are met with resistant thoughts and how we can use our archetype affirmations to overpower them. So for example, the thought, I'll never meet someone. The affirmation, I am the Emperor. The thought, who would want me with all these other beautiful women around? The affirmation, no, I am the Empress. The thought, who am I kidding? I'll never be able to do this. The affirmation, I am the Magician. The thought, will I ever get over the stage fright? The affirmation, I am a Julia Roberts. The thought, what's the point? No one believes me. Even my own family think I'm a joke. The affirmation, no, I am the High Priestess. The thought, I don't have the confidence to be a spiritual leader. The affirmation, I am the Hierophant. The thought, how am I supposed to believe when my bank account is empty? The affirmation, I am the King of Pentacles. Life can prove complicated enough. So try the sassy method as a way of manifesting and simplifying the process, as a way of quickly shifting your frequency and easily nipping your negative and countering thoughts in the bud with a no-nonsense, easy to remember, all-encompassing, strong, stable, rooted and grounded, yet sassy statement that affirms you as an archetype, a sigil, a symbol that your subconscious already understands. And then, hey, see what happens. Well, that's it from me, guys, for now. Thank you for stopping by. Do come again, and don't forget to check out the energy healing session coming next. And also, if you enjoyed this, hit that thumbs up, share and sub. And hey, if you already have an archetype in mind, why don't you begin affirming it now by writing it in the comments section below. Otherwise, have a great week ahead, peeps. Happy affirming. And from me, your host, Raven, peace, love, and motorbikes, and blessings.